a point in time where I did have a dream. I had a dream that I went to hell. This was maybe about 2 months ago. I spoke about it, and when I did speak about it, I didn't communicate it clearly as to what happened because I was embarrassed. I see now that God was giving me a vision telling me that I truly was not saved yet. That's not how I interpreted it though. But now looking back, I realized that I was still on my way to hell because I was working for my salvation. The dream went like this. I died. My wife and I went somewhere that I thought was the waiting room for heaven. Upon my death, I expected to go to heaven, but I ended up in a waiting room with a bunch of other people. And there was a receptionist, and she was very rude, which was confusing because I thought that, you know, this woman has to be a representative of God of some sort. Why would she be so cold? She didn't say anything rude, but she was just unpleasant. It was like a couch. I sat on one end was my wife beside me, and on the other side was a stranger. I remember sitting there and it didn't feel like, oh, jubilee. It didn't feel like joy and excitement. I remember putting my arm around the guy who was sitting to my right, and he kind of was like, yo, get off of me. And I was like, that's kind of strange. That's not the attitude that I would imagine that people would have in heaven. Oh, well, we ended up being led up a staircase, and somehow, you know how dreams are weird. They don't always make sense, but somehow going from a small room with a staircase led to us being seated in what was effectively like a stadium. Now, at this point in time, I'm expecting to meet Jesus or the Father or something. I haven't met anybody as yet. So I thought that was weird, but now we're in this stadium setting and there is a stage down below, and you know, it's loud and it's mad people and they're cheering. And I was like, oh, cool. This is when Jesus is going to come out or something. And so we're sitting there, and then nobody ever comes out. And then all of a sudden, it was like I couldn't move in my chair. And then it reclined back like to a horizontal thing. And it was like now I was on a conveyor belt. And then I went back and then I fell down. And as I'm falling down, my heart sank to the pit of my stomach because I knew exactly what was happening. I was on my way to hell and I was freaking out. And then I woke up and I was like, yo, what was that dream about? There's no way that dream was trying to tell me that I'm on my way to hell. I had changed my life so much. I had repented of my sins. I had stopped drinking, smoking, cussing. I wasn't looking at pornography. I was trying to be kind to my wife. I was going to church. I had by this time started talking about God on stream. I was doing all of these good works and I had repented of my sins. So there is no way that God was trying to tell me that I was still on my way to hell. Maybe he was just trying to reinvigorate me and encourage me to work even harder so that other people don't suffer that fate, or so that I don't somehow lose my salvation. Because when you don't know the true gospel, you're never sure about whether or not you're truly saved. You know, you might believe a false doctrine that, like, the fact that one can lose their salvation. So I thought, oh, maybe this is what God is telling me. Don't rest on your laurels. Continue to work hard so you don't lose your salvation and end up in hell. But I see now that God was trying to tell me you are on your way to hell. And maybe even at that point, he was trying to encourage me to research, how does one truly become saved? Nonetheless, eventually he led me to that doctrine. And I am so, so grateful because it is so good to truly know that I am saved.